You know, Dinesh D'Souza is a rare bird. He really is one of a kind. He makes these beautiful films, The Dragon's Prophecy. He goes back into the Bible, brings it up to today. I mean, really up to today. Interviews the Prime Minister Netanyahu, our ambassador Mike Huckabee. He goes through so much of the history, so much of the evidence of the history in the Bible, and of course talks about the horrors that took place. Let me ask you this, Dinesh D'Souza. What do you make of the horrendous anti-Semitism that has exploded all over the world, exploded in our country, exploded in our politics even? What do you make of that since October 7th and maybe earlier?
Mark, in my opinion, there is both a natural and a supernatural explanation, and you really need both. So the natural explanation is this, that anti-Semitism is often lumped in or studied together with racism, but they're actually quite different. In racism, I'm kind of up here, I'm looking down at you, and I've got this view that you are somehow debased or inferior. But in anti-Semitism, it's not like that. Jews are one of the most successful tribes or groups in world history. And so anti-Semitism involves a weird kind of looking up at the Jews, but looking up in such a nasty way as if to say that the Jews are successful not because they are smarter or they work harder or they're more entrepreneurial, but because they are more cunning, because they are more wicked, because they do things that we, the honest people, wouldn't do. So in my view, that is the natural explanation. It's deeply rooted in one of the worst of the human vices, which is envy. But I still don't think that gives a full explanation. So let me try the supernatural explanation on you, which goes more like this, and in fact ties in with the title of our film, The Dragon's Prophecy, because the dragon, an image out of the book of Revelation, is a reference to the devil, to Satan himself. And the basic idea here is that there is a spiritual war that has been raging since the beginning of time between God and the devil. Now, the devil cannot defeat God. He cannot dethrone God. So the devil picks the things that God cares about and tries to ruin those. Why did the devil pick on Adam and Eve? Genesis 1 in the Garden of Eden. Answer, it's because Adam and Eve represented God's cherished creation. They didn't do anything to the serpent, but the serpent goes, I'm going to ruin them, I'm going to destroy them, because that's how I get my revenge on God. The same thing can be said of the Jews. If the Jews are God's chosen people, if through the Jews the world got the Ten Commandments, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, the Hebrew prophets, the law, the whole sense of morality, then Satan goes, I'm going to throw the Jews out of their ancestral homeland from the river to the sea. Not only that, I'm going to take their holiest site, the place where Solomon built his temple, the temple where Jesus was in after it was reconstructed, and I'm going to put an Islamic victory arch called the Dome of the Rock right on top of it, and an Al-Aqsa mosque right next to it. So, in other words, anti-Semitism here represents an attempt by the devil himself to take it out on the Jews as a form of his venom against God himself.
And do you see this in these so-called influencers and podcasters, the Carlsons, the Owens, and the people who make excuses for them? How do you see that?
Well, it's very awkward for me. I did a speaking tour last year with Tucker in Australia. Of course, none of this came up. It was perfectly cordial. I've spoken in the past for Candace at her Brexit events. But look, I'm not one of these people. I'm not taking the Megyn Kelly line, oh, these are my friends, I'm not going to say anything. I'm actually taking the opposite line, that I grew to like these guys and my affection developed on other grounds. And now they have chosen to take this kind of dark turn. I think what's particularly insidious is that what they're trying to do is reinvent Christian theology, separate the Hebrew scriptures from the Christian scriptures, even though they are adjoined in the Bible. There's a saying in Christianity, the New Testament is in the Old concealed, and the Old Testament is in the New revealed. And the basic idea here is that the Hebrew scriptures and the Christian cannot be extricated. And this whole idea that we have to somehow Jesus replace the Old Testament and that we can sort of leave all of that behind, when quite clearly Jesus represented himself as fulfilling or bringing to full fruition the Old Testament. So I think what's going on here is really an effort to not only pluck away the evangelical Christians and pull them away from Israel, but also to fracture the MAGA movement, I think, in a very destructive way, not just ideologically, but also generationally, in separating the older generation from the younger generation.
Absolutely brilliant analysis. I think you're right on all points, and you also have the guts to call out people by name. I do the same thing, and other people are just cowards. I think if you're going to speak out, you need to speak out now. The Heritage Foundation built the Young Leaders Program because they're committed to investing in the next generation of America's leaders. Now, this mission is even more important now, as we need a new generation of young leaders fearlessly defending the truth. Every semester, Heritage trains and mentors more than 50 interns who are committed to the principles of individual freedom, free enterprise, limited government, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. Through policy briefings, professional development workshops, lectures from the top conservative thinkers on first principles of conservatism, and more, Heritage equips young conservatives with the timeless truths, practical knowledge, and relevant skills needed to protect and advance conservative principles and policies. If you know young conservatives hungry for a challenge, please go to heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin. Find more information about the program and its impact on young conservatives. Applications for the spring semester close October 5, so you gotta hurry. Don't wait. Our nation's future depends on conservatives like you taking action to spread the word. Again, that's heritage.org/Levin, heritage.org/Levin. Go there today. Let's do our part in training up the next generation of America's leaders. That's heritage.org/Levin, paid for by the Heritage Foundation. Now, I want to get this straight. So when we send people to the dragonsprophecyfield.com, what will they see at that site?
When they go to the site, they will, first of all, they'll see that it's in theaters on 2 days. And all they have to do is put in their zip code, and boom, the theaters around them playing the film will pop up. You have to buy your tickets on the website. We have bought out these theaters, so you can't go to the theater and order tickets there. You have to get the tickets from the website. So the Dragons, plural, the dragonsprophecyfilm.com, that's how you get the theater tickets. You also see that it's next Thursday. It's opening for streaming and DVD. You can pre-order the streaming now. You can pre-order DVDs now, and you'll get them next week. So you can watch it however you want. I make these films in a very spectacular and cinematic way. I love it when people go in the theater. They're with like-minded people. It is quite common for my films at the end of the film for the whole theater to stand up and applaud. It's really just a very powerful feeling. But if you can't see it in the theater, you want to watch at home, no problem. Go to the website, thedragonsprophecyfilm.com.
I'll tell you what we're going to do if you're able. I'm going to make this decision myself, Mr. Producer. I'd like to have you back on Monday for a segment because the film comes out in the theaters on Monday and Wednesday. I'd like to have you back. This is such an important film, and it is so substantively unbelievable, folks. If you're available, we're going to work out the time, and you can come back if you'd like to. It's up to you.
I'd love to. Let's make it happen. I've got a lot more to talk about, and I'd be delighted to do it.
Yeah, no, you're a national treasure. You really dig into these things. Very, very important, Dinesh. And we want to thank you. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Seriously, we are going to link to this on all my social sites. Check it out. I think you're going to really love this movie. Spread the word. The more, the merrier. You know, people need to get their Christianity back, their Judaism back. There's a lot going on in this country that is very destructive, very destructive. We need to push back. I don't know how you timed this film so perfectly, Dinesh D'Souza, but you did. And that's a wonderful thing. Maybe Hashem, maybe God did that too. My best to your beautiful wife, too. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you. Talk to you Monday.
Talk to you Monday. So we'll work that out, right, Mr. Producer? Very, very important that we have our friend back.